Yeah. What's good with the clapback gang? What's good, quiet gang? So y'all see today when we got P. Diddy had his final, you know what I'm saying, sentencing today. You see the news going up in the uproar right now. You got people mad, you got people happy, you got people scratching their head. The man, he got sentenced. They sentenced him to 50 months, 4 years and 2 months. And the sentencing he got charged for, or what he got sentenced for, with some charges that they had already said he wasn't guilty of. The judge decided, well, I'm gonna go off of my opinion. I ain't gonna go off of the jury's opinion. I'm gonna go off of what I seen and what I heard. And the judge pretty much sentenced him off of what he, as the judge, thought, not as what the jury thought. Y'all wanna know what I'm talking about? Let's go and get into it after this intro. Alright, yeah.
I do a marathon running, be competitive to death. I got 1,000 rounds drawn, boy, I wear it like a belt. I got 1,000 handguns, Rambo wouldn't touch. I got 1 million payroll, killers headed to Kentucky.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Silas. Quiet gang, what's good? Let's go!
Catch up on the mission. Hey, boy, she think it's Hines 57, catch up in the kitchen.
Okay, I'm reloading.
Make sure you don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get it.
I didn't know no better, but when I did know better, I choose to do better.
Yes, sir. If I ain't know better, if I ain't know better, I ain't go better. But now that I know better, I go better. If you knew better, do better. Yeah, what's good with the clapback gang? What's good, quiet gang? This your boy Silence, the clapback King BD. Finna go and get into the news of P. Diddy getting sentenced his 50 months for all the charges that he was facing. Like I said, they had acquitted some charges during his last, you know what I'm saying, last little court date he had. And apparently the judge said, I don't care if y'all acquitted the charge. I'm still finna charge him. I'm finna charge him as if, yeah, like what no jury even in him. Let's go and get into this. I'm gonna let my boy Poetic Flacco break it down to y'all, man. Cause he breaks it down the best. All right, yeah. Give me a couple of seconds. How everybody doing? Everybody's great. Clapback gang, quiet gang, we all good. Yeah, everybody goddamn it on the up and up. I hope y'all took all your vitamins, took all all your important things you had to take to keep yourself going. Your medicine, you know what I'm saying, therapy, do all of that. You're supposed to jog, go walking this morning. Go walking now, get that exercise in. Yeah. Health is wealth. I always know that. Let's go and get it to it. I ain't gonna hold y'all up no longer. Yeah.
Sentenced Diddy to 50 months in jail for Mann Act violations. 50 months, 4 years and 2 months. And his reasoning why is BS. We should all be pissed off and angry at what we just witnessed in his courtroom today. And if you weren't there, or if you was at work and didn't have time to read up on what happened or how Diddy rights were violated, lucky for you, I sat through everything. I watched every update since about 9 a.m. this morning. This is the sentencing table the judge is supposed to use to figure out what's going to be the range of sentence. Diddy falls in Zone B and Zone C due to his conviction of the Mann Act, which is, he transported people to engage in prostitution. Now, because Diddy, this is his first conviction, is supposed to fall in the 4 to 10 months or maximum 8 to 14 months. It's unprecedented for somebody to get anywhere near 5 years or 4 years in jail for a Mann Act violation. But this is where you begin to see the devil at work here, where you begin to see this judge is a radical judge. He has it out for Diddy. It's unprecedented. Because the judge looked Diddy in his eyes, looked his attorneys in his eyes in court, and he said, listen, I know he was acquitted of all the other stuff that will require a harsher sentence, but I'm still going to consider those other stuff as well when I sentence him. So I'm not just sentencing him for stuff the jury decided, but Yeah, I did my homework. I have to legal back in a legal basis to sentence him for stuff that I heard in court that he was acquitted of.
I got a fresh wardrobe, saved money, and had dinner handled all through Comet in
Oh, no,
under
man.
3 minutes. The best part about
Son, the
Comet, it
ads
literally
always
takes
messing up shit.
The state attorneys kept asking the judge to consider the beatings the women went through, how they was forced to do this, how they were coerced to do this, how this ruined their life. Diddy attorneys objected, said, hold on. Diddy was found not guilty. He was acquitted of trafficking these women. He was acquitted of engaging in anything that required force or coercion. The literal charge was trafficking by force or coercion. Diddy was found not guilty. Why do y'all keep saying these women were forced or coerced to do these things by Diddy? He was acquitted of this. He was found guilty of transporting people to engage in prostitution. The jury ruled that what those women did was consensual. So all the other stuff that he was acquitted for, that should have no play in what sentence he gets. The judge said, listen, you are wrong, Diddy attorneys. The judge says, now, as to the objections, the defense says acquitted conduct cannot be considered. There is no guidance from any court on this. We don't know what the jury was thinking. That means, hey, the jury acquitted him of trafficking, but they could have still thought that he coerced or forced these women to travel for prostitution. We don't know what they were thinking. But I still have to use my eyes and what I seen in his courtroom and what I heard in his courtroom. Even if the jury acquitted him of certain things, I still heard it so I could use it in my sentencing guidelines and I could consider it when I sentence him.
Man, I ain't never heard no stuff like that ever in my life. Where you already done been acquitted. Like that, the jury already said we don't think he's guilty of this. They did them charges was acquitted. It's over with. Well, we thought it was over with. Come back to court for the rest of the trial. Finish to go and sentence him, and the judge decide, well, I'm gonna ignore what the jury said, and I'm gonna take into consideration that I feel like the charges is right. I ain't never heard no stuff like this. This is brand new to me, y'all. Once you acquitted of something, you acquitted. I don't give a damn what the judge think. Once you acquitted, you acquitted. I didn't know the judge could come back in and like, no, I don't think those acquittals are correct. Let me go. Let me make my opinion, and my opinion gonna stick. I didn't know a judge could do that, y'all. This is brand new to me. This is some new shit. So P Diddy actually only got charged for uh transporting the ex traffickers, whatever the case might be. And they wasn't ex traffickers. They wasn't even trafficking. It was just like Poetic Flacco. I don't know if he said it, but he about to give a good example. If you order an Uber for a female to come to your house, and the Uber once he brings her, then that means you should be charged for ex trafficking. Now you did was order the Uber to get a female to your house. You should be charged for ex trafficking. Everybody should be charged for ex trafficking for ordering the Uber to get a female to bring a female to your house. They should be charged for ex trafficking then. How is P Diddy? And then P Diddy is not even the one that ordered it. He just paid for it. Paid for it. So how y'all got him as ordering the females to be transported? Even if he did order, it's still consensual. Everything was like they wanted to do it. It wasn't nothing forced. P Diddy didn't force anything. They all volunteered. It's what they wanted to do. So how y'all charging him? Then they say, I'm just speeding up on what Poetic Flacco, just so I don't have to show his whole video. They say eight of the I guess she called the ex-workers, the men, 8 of them wasn't even in court like they supposed. So the judge is gonna decide, well, they not in court, they not here, but I'm gonna go and add them as victims. They wasn't even in court, they wasn't even considered as victims when y'all did the trial, when y'all did the case. Y'all never said that the ex-workers, the guys, the men, the males, y'all never said they was victims. You never said they were victims. Now y'all sentencing P. Diddy. You gonna just all of a sudden add them eight grown men that didn't even wasn't even at court. They wasn't victims. They wasn't witnesses. They wasn't nothing. You gonna just all of a sudden make them witnesses too? You know what they did? They took it from P. Diddy's 2 victims to 10 victims. That's why he added 8 more. And like I said, people that wasn't even there, they wasn't even considered as victims. They wasn't even called in the court to testify on them because they weren't victims. So how are they now victims now that you sentenced him, P. Diddy, and giving him his time? Fair is fair. And that's just what it is. But check this out though. Let me add this in there. So the video that the whole world seen of him doing what he did to Cassie, y'all didn't charge him for that. He didn't get charged at all for that. So make that make sense to me. At least if y'all gonna charge him for the video of what he did, and so we can so we can believe what we seeing. But y'all didn't charge him for that, for the video, and I know why they didn't. It makes sense. And I ain't gonna get into that. But y'all charged him for something that wasn't. Y'all didn't charge him for something that was, but charged him for something that wasn't. That don't make sense. So y'all skip the video of him doing what he did to Cassie. Didn't charge him, but then y'all turn around and charge him for having 8 victims that not even victims. Yeah, man, that's what they did too. That's what they did to P. Diddy. So if you want to see him locked up, if that was your, you know what I'm saying, if that was your uh side of the fence, like if you the person that wants to see him locked up, you happy. But they still not happy because they don't think he got enough time. But what y'all need to understand is P. Diddy didn't get charged for what we know P. Diddy did. He didn't get charged for that. And we know P. Diddy did what he did to Cassie on camera. We seen it. We know he put his hands and feet on Cassie. We seen it. He didn't get charged for that. They charged him for what we can't see. They charged him for what they don't have proof of. Like I said, y'all charged him for 8 extra victims that weren't even victims. Some just ain't looking. Some not looking. Some not looking right. And they use the enhancement. They use the enhancement option on charging him as because he's a leader and an organizer. So they feel like, well, okay, we can use this and put the enhancement on him. That's what they did. They picked that enhancement. That specific enhancement. It was 3 of them they had. And one of them was a leader and an organizer. That was the first one. That was a 27 that they picked. A 27, I think. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just to get into, if you don't know anything about numbers and which like basically which enhancement charge, when you don't know nothing about that, this what Flacco finna break down to. So I'm gonna let him show y'all instead of me just saying it. So y'all have a better understanding on it. Let's get on back to it. All right.
The judge will state that it's overlapping conduct, so the force, coercion, or abuse that Jane Doe and Cassie testified that they received at the hands of Diddy, that could also apply to other charges. Those conduct worked their way into other charges. However, the difference between trafficking and transportation for prostitution is literally force and coercion. The minute you start considering force and coercion into that conduct, it becomes trafficking. It's no longer transportation. Transportation means all he did was transport them to do these things. Force and coercion and transporting is trafficking, which is why I don't understand why he would consider this, right? And he will say it only applies or it only impacts the advisory guidelines range. So he officially rules that acquitted conduct can be considered. See U.S. versus Vaughn, Second Circuit, and other cases. Even matters that cannot be considered for the guidelines can be considered under 3553A. This is nasty work. The judge essentially said, man, the jury don't matter. They're dumb. I'm king. If I sat in that courtroom and I heard you were accused of arson, bribery, RICO, trafficking, beating up women, forced coercion, and you was acquitted, the jury don't believe you did those things, if I heard it and I was convinced, well, I can still use that in my sentencing guidelines because I thought that you forced and coerced them, and that's overlapping conduct, and that could also overlap into the into the transportation charge, even though you were found not guilty
That's
of
some
trafficking.
bullshit.
That's crazy work.
Crazy
And
work.
the other thing he said, when he says,
Yeah, that's like you said, man. That's crazy work, man. That don't sound fair right there.
even things that you were acquitted of that can't be considered for the guideline, I can still consider it. And here's why that's important. Diddy's sentencing guidelines in court is he had 0 victims because he didn't force or coerce anybody to do anything. He had 0 victims. He had no prior convictions. And it's like a level 12 offense. So the guidelines for that is, well, like probation, 12 to 18 months, like max.
So what Poetic Flacco is saying is P. Diddy shouldn't have got nothing but like probation or 12 to so many months. So P. Diddy should probably like had P. Diddy should have walked out. He already done over a year. So P. Diddy should just walked out with some little probation on him. He should have got out today. P. Diddy should have walked out today. But for some reason, the judge decided in his own, you know what I'm saying? On his own terms, the judge decided to add on 8 more victims that wasn't even victims. You understand what I'm saying? The judge added on 8 more victims onto P. Diddy's charge that was not considered victims. So this is some law breaking stuff right here, man. They're gonna have to show us, and I don't want to see no enhancement. I don't want to see that. You're gonna have to show me how you was able to do that. They're gonna have to show the whole world. You can't just do stuff like that. And see, that's why Big P Diddy, that's why Poetic name is corrupt judge violates Diddy with insane prison sentence. Yeah, because now you're gonna be looked at as a corrupt judge. You're gonna be looked at as a judge that just did something for politics. You did something for whatever reason you did it. This has never been done before, ever. If it has been, please, somebody put up a clip of a person that went to court and was acquitted of something. And then when it was time to read his sentence, the judge decided to unacquit some acquitted charges. Let me see where that's ever been done at and show me that that's been done again, and I'll come back and I apologize. But this shit ain't never been done before. It's never been. There's a whole point. It's called the Constitution, and it's called having your rights. If you acquitted of something, you didn't do it. That's just what it is. So we're trying to figure out why P. Diddy got 4 years. And the judge gonna have to explain why he gave P. Diddy 4 years. He gonna have to explain why he acquitted charges. Or y'all say that it wasn't considered. The acquitted charges can still be considered. That don't make sense, man.
But the judge is saying, no, I sat in this courtroom and I heard testimony. Even though he was acquitted, I still believe he had more than 0 victims. I think he had 10 victims. The reason why how many victims the judge think Diddy had is important is because there's enhancements. So if the sentencing guideline is, hey, it's an offense level 12 and is guideline 1 because he has no prior criminal history, 12 to 18 months, the judge can say, no, I think he has 10 victims and enhancements apply. So Section 3's enhancement is for defendants aggravating role, vulnerable victims, and obstruction of justice that applies. So if the judge believes Diddy has 10 victims, well, that increased the offense level. Now those enhancements can take this to an offense level 27, which it did. Diddy argued, hey, judge, I have no victims. And if you're wondering, bruh, like he got convicted of transporting Cassie and Jane Doe for rendezvous. What you mean he has no victims? Flacco, how's that possible? That's possible because, again, the precedent for the Mann Act is these were consensual adults. Everything was consensual. They was down for it, and all he did was use his money to transport them. He didn't force them to do so. And that's why you're about to see why the setup is crazy and why Diddy got done wrong. The judge ruled, no, Diddy, you actually have 10 victims. Cassie, Jane Doe, and 8 men that were hired as prostitutes. Now, this is crazy. This is insane. That's insane. That's crazy. Those 8 men were never listed as victims during the trial. So why are you now saying they were victims? Diddy was never convicted of trafficking or transporting those 10 men or those 8 men. Diddy was convicted of transporting Jane Doe and Cassie. The charge literally said Jane Doe and Cassie next to it, not those 8 other men. They were never listed as victims. But the judge is saying, whatever I hear in this courtroom, they are victims. If I think they're victims, if they came and testified and they had nothing to do with this case, but I think he victimized them, well, I could use that in my sentencing guideline. And that's what the judge did. He went straight radical on Diddy. Diddy obviously objected to Cassie, Jane Doe, and the 8 men being considered victims. So the judge writes, Mr. Combs objects to categorizing Ms. Ventura and Jane as victims. That is overruled. He overruled that. Mr. Combs objects to the escorts being characterized as victims. That is also overruled. They were transported for the purpose of engaging in commercial. Again, not Jane Doe and Cassie. Jane Doe and Cassie was not transported to engage in commercial sex. The escorts were. The 8. Those 8 were not listed as victims during the trial. Diddy was not convicted of transporting those escorts at all. But the judge is still saying, because I heard it in court, I can still consider that in my sentencing guideline. Now, for Jane Doe and Cassie, because they weren't transported for commercial sex, the judge will say that based on the testimony, he believes that Diddy coerced and forced them to do it, hence they are victim. As to coercion, when something is voluntarily, it is uncompelled. That is from Black Law's dictionary. It's a broad concept. The threats to release videos into Jane's home, that's coercion. But he was found not guilty of doing that. He was found not guilty of coercing either of these people. So even if you want to consider Cassie a victim, all right, cool, bro. Like, you seen the video, you can't get out your head, cool. But Jane's a victim? Even the most radical people who's been covering this case, who's anti-Diddy, don't consider Jane a victim. But the judge is saying that because Diddy told Jane he's not going to pay her rent anymore because she ain't on no freak stuff no more, that's coercion. Diddy and Jane was in like a relationship or a situationship. She thought Diddy was her boyfriend. Diddy was paying her rent because she was being overly freaked out for him. And she was being what he would consider a good girl. The minute she stopped trying to be overly freaked out and start causing issues, he said, bro, I'm not going to pay her. Bro, it's $10K a month. Like, why am I give you $10K a month when you giving me headaches and issues now? Feel me? And you're not trying to be on time no more. That's coercion, bro. That's a legal precedent that F's over all men. All men get effed over by that, bro. Because imagine this, okay? You with your girl, okay? Like, your love language is physical touch, okay? The cooking and cleaning is cool, but your love language is physical touch. You paying your girl's rent because but like you a player. You don't even live there. You just paying it because you over there sometimes.
This game,
then
you're not ready for.
going on here.
She stops having sex with you for a year. You done said, huh?
Like if you had called an Uber and had them pick a female up, bring her to your house. Well, then you did X traffic. You should be charged for X trafficking too, and everybody else in the world. That should be an easy X trafficking charge. Makes no sense. And pretty much that's what Poetic Flacco is saying, man. You know what I'm saying? We smelling some real oddball stuff going on, and I don't know. I just think P Diddy can put belt to ass on this one, and he can mess around and get out of jail faster than some 4 years. That don't make sense. And that judge gonna end up losing his job. You can't do nothing like that, bro. I don't care who you think you is. You can't feel like you above the law to do something like that and think it won't come back and bite you. Like y'all really think P. Diddy finna sit in there for the next 2 years based off this 4 year sentence? See, it might be possible. That's something new. I ain't never seen it. So they one thing about it, this court that convicted him and got him in, these folks, they gonna have to explain it. They're gonna have to show the world. Show the world. You have to show the world how you were able to do that. You can't just show no enhancement documentation. Now break it down to us. Why you consider to add in 8 victims that weren't even victims? Why you consider to ignore what the jury came up with? So why was the jury there for? What was the purpose of them even being there? If y'all went through all that, what was the purpose of the jury? Judge should have just did the trial with empty seats. You're supposed to be judged by 12. And apparently we can get judged by one. We can get judged by one person now. Even when the 12 say something, that one person can. Yeah, and then that don't make sense. If the jury say this and the judge is saying that, ain't that a mistrial? If the jury is saying one thing and the judge thinking another thing, that's a mistrial. You can't just charge, you can't just judge, you can't just say, okay, I'm gonna take my decision. No, you can't do that. That's what the jury is there for. That's the whole purpose of the jury being there. Or they just all wasted their time. They got selected for nothing. Y'all took all that time to select a jury for nothing. He took all that time to bring in a jury for nothing. This is what this court is gonna have to explain to the world. And it's gonna fall down on, wait a minute, we're gonna have to let this judge go. He got us looking bad. I don't see no constitutional rights. I don't see no constitutional rights being used here. I don't see that. I don't see that. This is against constitutional rights, man. This is just strictly based off of one man's opinion or one person's opinion, the judge. Then, like I said, cool. Why did you have the jury in there? Why did y'all go through all that time selecting the jury? Why did y'all go through all that time having the jury make their decision just to ignore what the jury came up with? So yeah, that's where I'm at, man. That's it. But that's what they sentenced P. Diddy with. He got 50 months, man. That's 4 years and two months. They sentenced him to 50 months based off of some charges that he had been acquitted for on the on the court on the basically on the court case, not the court case, but when the court he had before this last court. Like whatever they did today, like anytime you go to court, you're gonna have, you know, one day you go to court for this, next day you go to court for, no, I mean, one day you go to court for this, they give you a date, you come back to court again for this, give you another date, and then you got your last date, which is your sentencing date. So y'all are not in the in the pre in the pre-court dates, y'all told this man he was acquitted, and then soon during the sentencing, soon as it's time to sentence the man, y'all gonna say, "Oh yeah, we not gonna listen. We're gonna ignore the jury." The judge gonna say, "I'm gonna ignore the jury, and I'm gonna just go based off of what I think." This is brand new to me, y'all. But what's y'all opinion, man? What y'all think? Y'all think P. Diddy got railroaded? You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of people was wanting him to go to jail, and I don't want to hear nobody saying, "Well, he didn't get enough time. He didn't get enough time." No, I want y'all to go watch the news, and I want you to do your own research and see what P. Diddy actually got charged for. Don't be going off of what you've been seeing on the YouTube and on the internet and all this, and what the other YouTubers is making up. I want y'all to go get the actual document. Go get the actual court document and read it. And you're gonna see what P. Diddy got charged for. You're gonna see what he got acquitted for. And then you're gonna see the judge overruled, like what he basically, ignored the acquittals and decided to go ahead and charge him for what he got acquitted for. So y'all go check it out. Like I said, dig it up, read up on it yourself, and you'll see where the judge was corrupt and where he was crooked at in this, where he did some foul shit. Pretty much just stepped on P. Diddy, man. P. Diddy should have been out today. He should have been able to walk home today. Something is not right. But yeah, this your boy Silence, Clapback King BD, man. If you know better, go better. If you knew better, do better. This is the Clapback Show. I am Silence, the one and only Clapback King BD, and we up out of this thing. Nah, matter of fact, I'm saying I'm up out of this thing. But I got one more live stream I'm finna do. I ain't gonna put it on this. We're gonna get it to a whole nother live stream. And it's on your boy Ride Wave, man. Yeah, Ride Wave. He exposing his record label. When somebody got something funny going on trying to play with his money, yeah, he speaking his mind on it. So let's see what Rod Wave talking about, and I'll catch y'all on that one. All right, yeah.
Guess what you fuck? What was you saying? Don't stop acting tough. Your partners ain't sliding. I guess you just had no damn boo-hoo. Now blow out his mind. I'm back on this money. She call it a grind. Put your life on the line. Look in his eyes, you can tell that he's scared, but they ain't ready to die. Gang get an order. Them soldiers don't stand by them 762s. They singing the tune. Is you ready to